God dang, we threw everything already at you. How to grow marijuana.
Okay, either you tap into the public utilities,
Oh, yeah.
so the light bulbs, right? But that will eventually trigger Caltrans to investigate. And two, what you do is you take out the PG&E meter. Okay? Yeah.
I was going to say the first one might take a couple of years to figure that out.
Well, you don't want to take the chance.
I know, I'm just saying.
Right. So two is you take out PG&E meter entirely. So what's going to happen? You still use electricity. Okay? You still electricity coming in. So what will PG&E do to you? They send you a letter every month. They send you a fine of about $3,000 a month. Then you pay it. And there's no record. Okay? There's no record of you using that much electricity. Okay?
Who has to fix the meter? PG&E or you?
The owner.
Oh,
Okay, the owner can say, well, I don't want you to come and fix the problem. And then I keep paying fine every month.
Isn't that kind of suspicious if it's like in a low
But you are not on the grid.
income neighborhood?
No, you're not in a grid, so they don't know. They know there's a bigger usage in this area, okay, but they don't know which house.
Yeah, but if they see that it's like in a neighborhood that's kind of, run down and the normal, rental rate is like $600 a month, when they kind of see that there's something wrong, and go to investigate each house, check the meter.
No, they usually don't do that. Okay. Well, but this is a solution the criminal came up with last year, so I don't know about this year. Or PG&E might have some way to deal with this, I don't know. But this is what they did like a year ago. So now, let's say here, Barry owned the house at Modesto, whatever, wherever, okay, in a remotely populated area. And so Doc is leasing a house from you, okay? So you were there, trying to sign the contract, okay? All right? And the first thing you notice is, well, right after you sign the contract, okay, then you notice that Doc took out the utility meter, okay? Took out all the walls and put in some high power artificial lighting, okay? Do you know what he's gonna do?
You could be raising reptiles.
All right. Explain that to the court, because you say, I have no idea, okay? And there's a counter to that, will be you should know, you knew or you should have known by a reasonable person's standard.
Wouldn't the reptile be a very reasonable standard though? Because reptiles do need a lot of heat to live.
Yeah, but then why take out PG&E?
Well, it's expensive.
What if
And then he sells
was-
reptiles.
Well, you don't use $3,000 in electricity every month. It's more expensive to take out the meter. Yeah.
What if Barry is 90 years old, doesn't know how marijuana is grown?
Exactly.
But he's not, he's
And
23.
No, to say he is 90.
Okay. Yeah, well, then in the court, then that's his defense.
Okay.
Okay, that's his defense.
Well, how would you, what if you like don't notice like the spinning thing? Like, you don't know how the actual meter itself works, and you just assume it's working okay. You just take a brief glimpse, and then you don't notice it, and then you assume the lamps attribute to a reptile, so you wouldn't actually know.
So prove it to the court. Okay. In this case, prove it to the DA. I had a couple that came up to my office. That's about a month ago. I don't know if I told you this. So they said, well, the FBI came to their place, okay? And they don't speak much English, so that's the problem. So I don't know whether procedure-wise everything is correct. So there was not a search warrant, there was an arrest warrant. Okay? Arrest warrant was for somebody else, not for the Chinese couple. Okay? And then the cop came into the house anyways, and then confiscated about $260,000 in cash. Okay? So what do you think? Why do you think this couple came to me? What do they want? They want their money back. I said, well, good luck with that. And be prepared for the upcoming prosecution. You think FDIC is going randomly go to your house and take all the cash? They have some lead that you were part of a drug operation. So what you should worry is not about the money. You should worry about you going to jail. Okay? And then I have a buddy that's, I'm drifting away from the topic. I have a buddy that similar situation. Okay, Chinese couple at home, and there's an arrest warrant for an African American teen. Nonetheless, the cop arrested both of them, searched their house, confiscated a lot of cash. Okay? And marijuana, bags and bags of it. Okay? So what's the problem here?
We found money, cash, marijuana.
Hmm?
We found marijuana and cash inside of it.
Well, they did. But the problem here is the arrest warrant was not for those couple. Okay, the arrest warrant was for a African American teen. Okay, the teenager. But these are 50 years old Chinese couple. Okay.
Did they give him permission to search the house, or did they have a search warrant? Okay, never mind.
There's no search warrant, there's only an arrest warrant. So at trial, they lost, the couple lost. Okay? So, but you know, there's a lot of cash, and there's a lot of marijuana. So obviously they are factually guilty, right? But the argument here is the warrant requirement was not met. Okay? The warrant is for a very specific arrest for that African American teenager. Okay? You cannot use this warrant as a universal warrant to go into anybody else's house to do a search and to do an arrest. So therefore, everything that comes after that point becomes the fruit of the poisonous tree. It should be excluded from the evidence.
Was the address on the warrant the same warrant?
Not even the same address.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, not even the same address. Yeah. So basically, my friend lost the case at trial. It's not in San but she's appealing the case right now. She's appealing the case to the Court of Appeal. I think November, the 2nd of November is the hearing. Why do you think that? Why do you think it's that important to follow the procedures?
Because they have a right to not be searched unless they have a warrant, and the warrant wasn't for that address or for those people.
Why do you think there's a warrant requirement?
To protect rights.
Yeah, basically there's a, well, to protect right is a very nice way to put it. That's true as well. But two is it can deter police from misusing their powers. Right? Okay, any questions? Okay. Well, some contracts, even though legal, okay, cannot be enforced by the court for public policy reasons. Okay? For public policy reasons. Let's see, we can go a little further in this. Okay, so another reason for not to enforce an agreement is misrepresentation. Okay, and this is the misrepresentation of the facts. Okay, so let's see here. Barry, I'm sending you my house, right?
Yep.
Okay, I'm sending you your house. And my house has termites. How's it termites? And I told you, no, I don't. My house is clean. Perfect condition, no termites whatsoever, especially there's no termites. Okay? All right, and you actually believe my statement, and then we sign into the contract, okay? It's transfer of real property, so it's a written agreement. So I contract to sell you my house with termites, which you don't know anything about it. Okay? Now later, when you trying to cancel this contract, can you? Right? So this is a misrepresentation. Okay? I hide some facts from you, material facts, in this case. Okay? Another reason not to enforce an agreement is by non-disclosure. Non-disclosure. So instead of that agreement that we have between me and Barry, so one contractor says, well, there's no termites. No termites. Okay? And then we sign a contract about the house. You can cancel it. But what if I don't mention anything about termites? And then we sign the contract. And then later he's trying to cancel this contract. Can he cancel it?
Yeah.
You say yes?
If you say this, the house is clean and nothing.
I didn't say anything.
And he didn't.
I didn't say anything. So here's my house. Check it out. Like it? Right here.
For the first one, if you saw like a little termite crawling up the wall, but you agreed to it anyway, you know, then that wouldn't.
What if you didn't see it?
Oh,
Or what if
Then
you
no.
see it, you don't know it's a termite?
then no. If you don't disclose something, it's.
Anybody had purchased the house before in this class? Do you own a house?
Not anymore.
Sorry for that. But, well, I guess I can have some input in this. So, in this case, I'm selling my house to Barry. Okay? I didn't say anything about the condition of my house. Okay? And then he bought it and later found that there's termites in the house. Can he cancel the contract?
But usually the contract says as is, like you accept all the terms of what it is.
Okay.
Like, actually, I had something similar, the heater had a crack in it. They said that the heater was in perfect working order, we signed it. And then when we tried to pilot it on the PG&E said, oh, you can't do that, there's a crack.
Oh,
And so
okay.
then we tried to use our whatever insurance or whatever, or guarantee, and they're like, no, that doesn't cover it.
Well, okay. So the answer is maybe, but most likely not. And you cannot cancel the contract because as a buyer, you have what? You have a duty to inspect. Okay? So it's your duty sometimes. That's why we have a package that the buyer provided to the seller, or it's a waiver. So basically, you know, you're gonna do inspections, otherwise you waive for the right. Okay? So you have a duty to inspect the house. And do you think an inspector that you hire, so what kind of inspection they would do in the house when you buy it?
Knock on the walls, make sure there's nothing wrong with them, or check, you know, the various fixtures like the water meter. And
Yeah, so first you hire a structure engineer to look at the structure of the house. Okay, just make sure the structure is okay. And then you look into smaller details, okay? Whether it is rotten, whether there's termites, or, okay? So, most likely, okay. Now, what about when I sell you the house? Okay? I didn't say anything about the house, okay? And then your inspector failed to discover that the main beam of the house, okay, is shifted by half a foot. Then when an earthquake comes, the house will collapse. Okay? Now, because it's a big house and the shifting is only about half a foot to a foot, okay? Okay? So the inspector didn't find out that problem. And later on down the road, then you found out the problem. So you're trying to cancel this contract. Can you?
this now?
Why not?
Because you bought structure to check over the house,
Okay.
and he found nothing. So.
Yeah, but is this a problem apparent to the engineer?
Yes.
If it's a big house, the beam was shifted by half a foot is not apparent.
Could be. I mean, if he's really good at his craft, you should be able to notice it.
Okay?
So it's
And this is what I call a latent defect. Okay? A latent defect. If it's not apparent, it cannot be discovered, how long do you think the engineer is going to spend at your house? Like an hour and a half. They're not going to measure every single beam. They're not going to do all the calculations. They don't. They go around and tap on the things, and that's pretty much it. They write up the report. Okay? It's not a comprehensive or a very thorough investigation. Okay? So if the defect itself is hidden, it cannot be easily discovered, and yes, later that could be a reason for you to cancel the contract. Okay? And then that also depends that, because I didn't say anything, if I knew anything is wrong about it, I didn't say anything as different than I don't know anything about it. Okay? I knew I didn't say anything, okay, it's different. Now what about California? What about this happens to me. Okay, so I live in Jersey City, so I looked at about 50 to 70 houses before I purchased mine, and so I went to the house, okay, and then the house has old windows, old paintings, old floors. I think those are like 25 years untouched, and it feels creepy. A lot of sunlight, but when you walk in there, it's like the hair on the back of the neck just stands up. Okay, so what do you think? So my first question, what would your first question be, Chantel, if you walk into a house like this? Is it a haunted, or that's a more subtle question for this? Huh? Well, I know it's haunted, but you don't ask your agent if this house is haunted. What do you ask?
Somebody died.
Somebody died in the house before, right? Somebody died in the house before. Okay? Now, do you think they have a duty to disclose that information?
I think within a certain period of time or a certain number of owners.
Some period of time. I don't remember the time frame. Yeah. And it was a very good day. It was sunny and there's no wind. And very nice day. I walked in the house, it's a big house too. Big house. Those corner spot house, very big, very big. No backyard, but very small backyard. And then I was in, I walked into one of the bedrooms, not the master bedroom, and I went out. I left the room, and all the windows are closed. All the windows are closed. Those are for showing. And it was an open house. So the moment I left the room, I walked towards the living room, the door closed behind me. No, the door was open before. Okay, I walked in the room, I left the room, walked towards the living room, and there's nobody behind me, the door closes. I get out of the house as soon as I can. Yeah, I grab the agent with me and say, get the hell out. Okay. All right. Any questions? Okay, let's take another 10-minute break. Okay. So we went over a lot of reasons. A lot of reasons not to enforce an agreement. Okay? I'll give another one. It's by duress or undue influence. Duress. Duress. Well, it could be a physical duress, okay? I'm having a gun pointed at Barry. I said, Barry, here's a quarter. Okay? Give me your iPhone. Okay? I'm not robbing you. Here's 20%. I'm buying it from you. You better sell it to me. Have the gun pointing at your head. Okay? Offer acceptance? Yeah. Consideration? Yes. Okay, but will you voluntarily selling your iPhone to me for a quarter? Probably not. Unless there's a reason to get a new iPhone. Yeah.
Would like a time limit also count as duress? Like if you have a certain amount of time to sign it before the opportunity goes away, or
Like what?
like I don't know. Let's say there's a mortgage, a loan officer, and he's like, you only got 5 minutes, or no, some ridiculous short time, 2 minutes to sign it, without being able to read through it,
Okay.
or else you won't get a refinance deal. This is the only deal you'll ever have.
You can bring to the court if that's your defense, but no, I don't think you're gonna win. Remember, the example I showed is for a physical duress. Okay? So other than physical duress, you have a economic duress. Okay? Economic duress. So there must be a bad guy to have economic duress. There must be a bad guy, there must be a vulnerable guy. Okay? There'll be a bad guy, there'll be a poor guy, basically. Right? You have a bad guy, there's an improper threat. Okay? Improper threat. Usually it goes to the threat I can breach the contract. Okay? That's the bad guy. And the vulnerable guy would be, I have no reasonable alternative. Okay? The only thing I can do is to sign it. So in your hypothetical, okay? Let's just say Barry and Chi are getting married. Okay? So they're preparing to sign a prenup. Okay? So Barry prepared the prenup and give it to Chi and say, well, here's the prenup. They give you 5 minutes to take a look at this 30-page document. Okay? Sign it. If not, I'm going to call off the wedding. Okay? Well, and then she only have 5 minutes. The English is not your first language. Right? So she might be signing this document under duress. Now, is this document, this prenuptial agreement, enforceable by law? Is it? Probably not, because to prevent a situation like this, California has a law. But 16, I told you that before. You have 7 days to review the contract and think about it. Okay? Unless you knowingly waive your right. Okay? One thing, I think it was Barry Bond. That was the case. The divorce between Barry Bond and I think his wife is Swedish. Am I right? I think she's not. Right. So her defense was, I never had a chance to read the prenuptial agreement. I didn't have a lawyer to explain that to me. Okay? So right nowadays, if you look at the prenup, they're usually signed by the fiancé, the two, the groom and the bride, and their attorneys. So it'll be 4 signatures usually. Okay. All right. So economic duress will be a bad guy, a vulnerable guy. And then you have undue influence. So what's the difference between duress and undue influence? Melinda has a lot of money. Okay? All right. So she has 2 children. That's Tom and Kevin. Okay? But Tom and Kevin are not good sons. They don't care too much about Melinda. Probably see her once a month. Okay? They see her once a month. So Melinda, what she to maintain her lifestyle, will be to be living independently. So Melinda hired a nurse. Okay. Okay. So Melinda hires Chantel. Chantel takes really good care of Melinda. Okay. And then at the end, before Melinda goes, Melinda changed her will and will Chantel everything. Tom gets nothing, Kevin gets nothing. Okay? Now, Melinda passed. We can never find out the true intent, okay, of the will, because you're not here. Okay? So, to find out the true intent, we don't know this. We can't ask you again, right? Hey, get up. At this time, Tom and Kevin is going to go to the court and file a lawsuit against Chantel. Okay? We're saying the will is not valid because when Melinda willed everything to Chantel, she is under the undue influence. Okay? Now, the elements for the undue influence is that there must be a special relationship between the parties. In this case, Melinda is the person who received the service, and the Chantel is the caregiver. Okay? And two, there must be an improper persuasion. Okay? There must be an improper persuasion of the weaker by the stronger. So in this case, Chantel is a stronger person here. And Melinda being his old, she's old and she's a weaker party here. So if Chantel improperly persuade Melinda to give her everything, that will be an undue influence. Okay? So what about now? I'm giving you the facts right now. Okay? So who should win the case and why? Chantel now is being sued by Tom and Kevin. You thought you could inherit millions of dollars. Now you got zero. Because millions of dollars goes to Chantel. So I'm giving you that fact. Okay? Now Barry, if you are Tom's lawyer, what is your argument?
That because she spends so much time with her, she has an effect on her life, and perhaps can persuade her how she cares more about, her than her kids do.
Well, if you are Tom's attorney, you don't want to say perhaps. You want to say she did.
Did.
We're going to prove to the court, show evidence to the jury, and that she did. She improperly persuaded the deceased to give her everything. Okay? Now, who do you want to hire to be your lawyer in this case? Mr. Lee, if you are Chantel's lawyer, what is your defense? You can ask me questions because I haven't given you enough facts. You can ask me questions.
There's no dedicated intent to force him to earn money to Chantel.
Okay. Now I'm giving you two elements for the undue influence, right? There's a special relationship. Are you going to challenge that? Okay. So what they're trying to do is saying the entire will was the entire process, the entire assets that was willed to Chantel was under the undue influence. Okay. And I'm giving you two elements. To defeat this element, what you can do is you can defeat either element, then you can win the case. One, can you defeat there is no special relationship? Was there a special relationship? For you, you have to prove both. For you, you just need to negate one of the elements. Was there a special relationship?
Yes.
There it is, right? She's the nurse.
Nurse.
Okay, she is. So forget about the first element. Second element is the improper persuasion. Okay, so what you trying to prove here?
Might be.
You're trying to no. You say that in a court. She's gonna sue you for malpractice. You're gonna say, I'm gonna show this to the court that she did not improperly persuaded Melinda. Right? I'll show the court the evidence. Okay? So what kind of evidence do you think will help your case?
The nurse took advantage of that poor defenseless old woman and convinced her that she was more important than her own children.
Oh, that's a great opening argument, right? So what kind of evidence do you need? I'm letting you making up the other evidence.
Isolation from her children due to the fact that she sees them every day. She sees the will, or what would you call a person who
It's an isolation, so the kids were denied access
yes.
to the mother.
And, she had more time to convince the mother that she is more worthy of her income than the children were.
Well, then you're gonna have a hard time to prove. It's impossible to prove someone's intent. Almost impossible, right? So that's why you're bringing facts. So Tom and Kevin try to call Melinda every other day. Zoe said, well, she's sleeping, okay? And they send the letters. Melinda never had the chance to read the letters, okay? And then there's a request to bring the grandchildren over, okay? Or maybe take Melinda out for a dinner. And all the requests has been turned down or been denied by the nurse. That's a good, right? That's a very good indication, right? Now, Mr. Lee, now it's your turn. I'm letting you making up the facts to defend Chantel. What kind of facts, if you have to make up, that will help your case? You can hire a co-counsel, just not Melinda. She's gone.
Not truly like caregiving for her sons.
All right, you are fired now. Chantel is going to go in for court, just defending herself.
But didn't she hire the nurse just because her sons were really bad and that they weren't visiting her, so she felt that because no one is taking care of her, then she has the need to hire a nurse because her sons don't want to see her at all and they don't want to take care of her.
Yeah, true. So these are the facts I given. I gave these facts at the very beginning. So these are set facts. Okay, so your make-up facts are contradicting with my facts. It's not so good for you. Either you don't listen, either you didn't listen to me carefully, or not credible. Okay. What about any counter arguments?
I was going to say, caregivers don't make much money, and there's a lot to be gained from getting into the will of a defenseless old woman. And, well,
Any
there's
else?
only like two.
You are smiling. Any inputs?
I was just waiting. What an argument.
Right, okay. No, if I'm her attorney, I'll be objection to one, speculation. All right, two, argumentative. All right. Three, character, as you're attacking her character. Okay? Sustain. Okay. So, well, basically it boils down to see whether there was a improper persuasion. Okay? And that needs to be determined by the facts. And who determines the facts? Either the jury or the judge, if it's a bench trial. Okay? Now, in this case, Chantel, do you want a jury trial or do you want a bench trial? Bench trial means there's no jury. The case is decided by the judge. Jury? Okay. Well, I will agree. But you got to be really careful when you're selecting the jurors. Okay? So there's a voir dire process when you select the juror. Okay? You gotta see how much you make, what is the occupation. Okay? Does your mom leave you a lot of money? Okay? Right. So if all 12 jurors, they all inherit money from their parents, forget it, you're gonna lose. Okay? If they're all lower income than wealthy families, okay, and they believe, well, some, free money falling off the sky, then you have a bigger chance.
I was gonna say, for my case, it would be good to have jurors that, as you said, have potential to inherit from that. And for her though, she'd want, like caregivers or healthcare providers.
Yeah, exactly. If 2 of them are nurses, great. All right? Great jury for you. Yeah. Okay? So, duress and undue influence. Okay. Well, one reason to not to enforce an agreement is the unconscionability. Okay? I gave you a case to brief, that's unconscionability. Okay? Unconscionability basically saying this contract is so unfair. It's way too unfair. Hey, 25 cents. Wash my car for the rest of your life. It's so unfair. Okay? So it must be unfair, so unfair, and then oppress the terms. And then basically, the test for this is so shocking, okay, so shockingly unfair that we actually do need a court to intervene. So nowadays, it's almost impossible to win any case by unconscionability. Okay, so do you know how to break down the words, right? Conscience. Okay, that's unconscious, unconscionability. Okay, so if Barry and Chief they entered into an agreement. Okay. All right. So 5 minutes, print out your agreement. Okay. You wait for your rights knowingly, and in fact she doesn't speak or she doesn't read a word of English. Can you later go to the court and say, well, Your Honor, because my English ability is very limited, I did not understand the terms of the agreement. In this case, you gave her 7 days. Okay, let's do this. You give her 7 days. So you had enough time to review the contract, but you didn't. Okay? Okay? So, well, just like all the other Chinese except me, they just signed the contract without fully understand the contract. Yes?
She should have hired or, gotten a hold of an interpreter to help her understand the contract.
Or a lawyer.
Or a lawyer.
Right? So you cannot go to the court and say, Your Honor, because I don't understand English. Therefore, this contract is so unfair to me, and so unfair to me to a point it's unconscionable, and I wish to void the contract based on unconscionability. It's not going to work. And trust me, I tried. And the court said, English is not a defense. Okay? You could have hired someone to explain or translate, or even an attorney to go over the terms with you or for you. Okay? Any questions? Unconscionability? Yeah.
Unconscionability is a common sense. If I don't understand some other thing, and they punish me for the thing I don't understand, and my lawyer did not explain to me all the whole detail, and I don't understand, and I agree for the thing I don't understand, is unconscionability.
Well,
If I don't understand of English.
if you don't understand,
Yes.
okay, then you were trying to use
Misrepresentation, can
unconscionability.
I use a misrepresentation?
No, misrepresentation means they're lying to you.
Yeah.
They probably did not lie to you. And if you don't understand the agreement and you sign it, and you're trying to avoid the contract by using unconscionability, you are going to lose. Okay? You're going to lose. You signed the contract. Remember, the law favors contract formation. Okay? No one is a good contract or it's a bad contract. The contract is as is. Okay? Unless it gets to a point it's way shockingly unfair, okay, then there's a chance under conscionability. You don't understand it, you don't understand it, that's your problem. Okay? You could have find an attorney to explain this to you. You could have spent a night going through all the dictionaries.
I have a friend of mine, he signed over there and things like that, you know, and the public defender did not do what he's supposed to do in the investigation. He said, oh, he signed. Finally, these guys go and finally, well, there it is. And he go explain to the judge, oh, I don't know, you know. My lawyer, my public defender, explain to me the side. And he trusts the public defender. And that's the problem nowadays, you know that.
Well, see, that's a bit different, because that's under criminal proceedings. Criminal proceedings, you have more rights, okay, as a defendant, okay? You cannot mix that with the contract law.
Okay.
So when you go to, if you plead bargain, and then at the end you plead, enter into a final plea. So you usually say, well, not guilty, not, well, it's innocent, not guilty, but it's a no contest. You never say you're guilty, okay? You say no contest, okay? You guys know the difference?
What the difference, you still say no contest in that point of view, and guilty, but you still guilty.
Always say no contest.
Yeah.
Okay, in criminal cases, they mean the same thing.
Yeah.
No contest and guilty means the same thing. But if you plead guilty, if there's another civil case pending against you, they can use the judgment from the criminal case against you in a civil case. But if you plead no contest, the civil case cannot use the result from criminal cases to against you in the civil proceeding. Yes.
So no contest is more of a medium where you're not admitting guilt, but you're not admitting
You
innocence.
are admitting guilty.
Oh.
The only thing is, they cannot use the result of the outcome of the criminal cases against you in the civil.
Well, I know you kind of, you know, you get punished for it, but I'm saying that, I thought it was like, you know, where it's kind of a, you know, you're not admitting guilt, but you're not admitting innocence either, you're kind of in the middle.
Yeah, the judgment on there, yeah.
That's what it technically is, but you still technically, oh, I
But in
know.
criminal case, they don't care. No contest and guilty means
Yeah.
the same thing.
Same thing,
Okay?
same rule.
It's because you're not really trying to defend yourself, and you're not really trying to defend yourself.
You plead bargain. You plead bargain. And then when you enter into the plea, the first thing it says is not good. The first thing, the court will go over all the rights that you have. Do you know you have the right to a jury trial? Okay. Do you know you have the right to a speedy trial? Do you know you have the right to an attorney? Do you know you have the right? Now, do you know by entering into the plea, you waive the right to the trial, you waive the right to cross-examination the police officer, and you waive the right, okay? You waive the right to have this case heard by a jury. Okay? They're gonna go over all these rights, okay? And then you have to say, yes, you know, I waive all the rights, okay? So, that's a little bit different than this. Criminal proceedings are different, okay? Any questions? Very quickly. If the contract itself is ambiguity, okay, it's ambiguous, okay? So if there's a material term that is open to at least two reasonable interpretations, and then each party has a different interpretation, okay? All right? So the court will say, oh, all right, it's fine, okay. Yeah. But then, of course, it's very similar to a mistake of facts. Mistake of facts is also a reason not to enforce the contract. Right? So, again, this is a very old case, 200 years ago. So there was a ship called, I'll just make up a name. It's called Mayflower. Okay. It goes from, I think, New York to some other city. Right. So they contract into this shipment, okay, two companies. So they're gonna send Mayflower to ship the goods over to another port. So what they don't know is there are two Mayflowers. that both ships are on the same route, okay, from the same port, New York to another port, okay? The only difference is they depart on different times and with different goods. So both parties genuinely believe that he believed was the first Mayflower and he believed was the second flower. So as a result, okay, the delivery of the shipment has a time differential. Okay? Now they're trying to sue the contract. They're both trying to sue each other, saying you breached the contract. And the court says, well, this is a mistake of the facts. Okay? Or this can be also viewed as ambiguity. Okay? Because it didn't specify enough, or the ship itself is a Mayflower with lack of specificity. Okay? All right. So ambiguity is one way to not enforce the contract, and mistake in fact is also not the reason not to enforce the agreement. Okay. Now, okay, this is a famous case. So I think back into 1700, I think back in England, cows worth a lot of money, okay? But if it's a barren cow versus a fertile cow, the price are very different, okay? If the cow has the ability to produce this little cows, they're worth more. Okay? If they lost that reproductive ability, they're worth less. Okay? So, 300 years ago, Barry entered into a contract with Chi, where Chi owns a ranch that has a lot of cows. And this is the real case. Okay? So they entered into a sales of a cow for $80. Okay? Right. Both of you were certain that cow, the name of the cow is Rose, okay? And that's the real case, okay? The cow is named Rose, okay? Both of them genuinely believe the cow was barren, okay? The cow, that's it, the cow cannot have baby cows, okay? All right, later on, they found out the Rose is fertile. Okay, a fertile cow worth about $750. Okay? So once Chi found out about Rose is pregnant with little cows, right, she refused to deliver Rose to Barry. And Barry sues. Okay, I want my damn cow. Right, I paid you $80. Where's my cow? Who wins? Who wins the case?
She does.
What?
Mistake of fact.
No. Okay, this is a mistake of fact. They both made mistakes, believing the cow was barren. But in fact, the cow was fertile. Okay, they both have made a mistake. Okay, so the contract is void. Resent.
I thought of an example, but I realized it was a bad one. But imagine the queen of England owns a ranch, and she sells barren cows, where she ranks and makes them barons, but she actually sells them barren cows, which means they're unable to produce. I know there's obviously a spelling difference, but if that spelling difference didn't exist, would that be kind of an example of a mistake of fact?
No, there could be. Right. Because they both believing, one believes I'm selling a barren cow and you are buying a barren cow. It turned out it's fertile and worth a lot more, 10 times more. Okay? All right, let's conclude tonight. I will see you guys next week. Quarter.
Shiny quarter, too.
I know it's a good quarter.